Hey, it's Sarah here. Thanks for watching this episode of MLM Marketing Explosion. Are you a risk taker or do you like to sit back and play really conservatively? On this episode, I'm going to share with you why you want to be an action taker and what you can do about it.
How are network marketers like us supposed to rank, advance, and build a downline without begging our friends and family or having supermodel good looks? My mind was blown when I realized that the top network marketers aren't calling their friends and families to invite them to lame hotel meetings and in-home meetings. I've spent the last 2 years learning from and dissecting the system that top earners in the industry use. Follow me on the journey as I continue to learn and implement the top marketing tips and strategies to grow my downline. This is Sarah Peterson, and you're listening to MLM Marketing Explosion.
When we taught my little girl how to ride a bike, she's our oldest, she did not want to learn how to ride a bike. She was convinced it was going to hurt. She was convinced she was going to fall. She was convinced that, it was going to be really hard. And I understand where she was coming from because that bike is wobbly. And I'm talking about when we take off the training wheels, right? So when we took her for training wheels for that very first time, she now no longer had that backup, right? She no longer had that support. She kind of lost some of her confidence. And so as we were teaching her how to ride this bike, we actually taught her on grass. And I don't remember where I came up with that idea. I think I read it somewhere on the internet or something, but they're like, take off the training wheels and your child can ride on the grass. Well, she knew that she was going to fall. And she knew that she was going to quote unquote fail, right? And that it wasn't going to go as smoothly as maybe she'd like it to go. So before she'd start, my husband and I are behind her, and she really didn't have older cousins or anything that she was looking up to going, I've got to ride this bike, right? So we kind of pushed her into time to take off the training wheels. So as she'd do this, she would, and I didn't figure this out until we started, riding the bike with her for a little while, that she would look at this grass and she'd figure out where she was going to crash. So she'd already decided where the bike ride was going to end before we'd even start. And sure enough, so we kind of gave her that push off. She'd get going, she'd go, and the bike would fall over, she'd crash. And then she'd stand up again, go, and she'd fall over again. And it was always at that spot that she'd already predetermined that she was going to crash at. And she didn't really crash because, she'd just kind of jump off her bike. The bike would kind of fall, whatever, because she decided that that was the point where she could minimize her risks the most. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, I'll ride my bike, but when I get there, that's where I'm falling because if I go past that, it's concrete, it's going to hurt, it's going to be awful, it's going to be painful. In fact, I still to this day have a child who will not ride a bike because of that. He's very big. He's always been big, like just tall. I mean, just this big kid. To give you a little idea of what I'm talking about, he is 14 and he's 6'1". He's just this big kid. So, when he was riding bikes with all his friends, I say riding bikes, he never rode a bike. He rode a scooter. But when he'd think about riding a bike, he didn't want to do it because all his friends were little and they could just jump on that bike and they could go. And if they fell, they fell. But he's going, man, when I fall, I can't get my body off the bike fast enough. It hurts. And so he did not want to fall. It was like, no matter what we did, we couldn't get him past that. He wouldn't ride a bike. He'd rather walk, right? We could all be riding a bike and he would walk or take the scooter. That's just how it was. Nothing we could do to get past that roadblock because he already knew it hurt. He already knew it was painful. So my questions are, what do you do? I mean, have you already decided that you're going to win or lose without even meaning to? Like my daughter, she already decided I'm riding the bike until then because when I get there, the game changes and it's going to hurt. You took off that support. You took off the training wheel, which also begs to question as a leader, when do you cut off that support? Do you have support in place first off so that this person underneath you is willing to take that chance, is willing to go out and try to learn how to, quote unquote, ride this bike. Had we put my son in bubble wrap head to toe and it hadn't hurt as bad that first time, chances are he would have gotten back on the bike. but he didn't like it. He didn't like his experience. He didn't want to be part of that. My daughter eventually did get over it. She figured out that she could go farther and farther and farther and farther, but it still was never something that really caught on, which is funny because really out of my 4 kids, I only had one that absolutely loved bike riding, and it's because he wasn't afraid to get hurt. So, I mean, he would take those bikes and jump off the ramps. He would, he's my kid that would skateboard, down the road. He was always trying something new. And you can argue that part of that is because he's super athletic, and he is, but my other kids were athletic too. He just wasn't going to let what could be really fun, he wasn't going to let his fear stop him from doing it. You follow what I'm saying? So what kind of person are you? Are you scared? Do you have to see someone else do it before you can jump in? Or are you the trendsetter? Are you the leader? Do you make your own waves? Are you an action taker? Do you wait until you know every single detail to jump in, or do you just jump? Now, I can argue that there's people that are born that are naturally that way. And I think that there are, right? I mean, I look at my own kids and I think, man, they were seriously so close together that you can kind of throw that difference, like growing up, my family is really spread out. There's 7 of us and there's 20 years between me and my littlest brother, all the same family, same parents, same whatever. But you can argue that things vastly and drastically changed from when I was a little kid to when my little brother was a little kid, right? Well, my kids were within 4 years. Nothing changed. You know what I mean? There were no big drastic changes. Minus that I guess you could say that there were a whole bunch of little kids like puppy dogs running around together. But really, nothing changed. And yet, each one of those kids has their own distinct personality. Are there ways to get out of your own way? Are there ways to just take action? So one of the ways that I found that works for me is that I'll learn how to do something, and then I'll just go out and take action. And lots of times it's imperfect action. And I suppose you could argue that I should have waited until I had more information. I've always been really, really, really spontaneous. And I suppose it's a plus and a minus. I'm going to take it as a plus. I just jump. I get the idea and I go for it. Okay, let's go do this. We got this, right? And in fact, if I wait too long, sometimes I can talk myself out of it. So I know that when I get that spontaneous thought, I just go for it. I kind of use Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're in. Yes, let's go do this. Luckily, I've for the most part made good decisions using that, because I know you can get in trouble with that. But anyways, so I jump in, I take action. It doesn't always work the way that I think it's going to work, right? So then I'll try it for a little while. You've got to try it for long enough that you know if it really works, because sometimes it does take a little while to implement some of the stuff, right? It's not like you just automatically do what you're supposed to be doing and everything works out the way you want it to, right? It doesn't. But so if you take that action though, and you've realized that maybe it's not working exactly the way you like, parts of it are working, part of it aren't, that's where you step back, you evaluate, you change maybe one thing. I wouldn't go hog wild and change everything, because you're testing, right? You're testing and tweaking, and then you put it back in action again. You take what worked, you get rid of what didn't, you test it and tweak again. That's how the cycle works. You take action, you evaluate, you take action again. Evaluate, take action again. And that's your continual cycle. That's how you do it if you want to have success. You're always taking action. I know I hear people say imperfect action is better than no action. It is, but you want to be continually learning. I've heard people say that you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. You can. And that's where you take the action, you see if it worked, you evaluated what worked, you evaluated what didn't, and you change it before you go to the next person. Don't just keep making those same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. I know I did that in the beginning. There were days that I would go crank out 17 home meetings and nobody would sign up. And I'd go, wow, that really sucked. That was the other person's fault. They just weren't ready for my message. They weren't ready. Their fault. Go on to the next person. You guys, if you're getting those results like I was getting, you've got to change something in it yourself. There's no way around it. As soon as I started investing in myself, as soon as I found mentors that could get me to where I wanted to go, everything changed. Can I tell you how much I wish that I'd figured that out years before, instead of just blindly doing what I kept doing. I'd hear, nothing changes if nothing changes. And I'd think, oh, I changed. I've started my own business, but nothing had changed, right? I was still like my daughter. I knew where it was going to crash and where it was going to fail and where things were going to get hard. And every single time, sure enough, I get up to that point and those same roadblocks would come back to haunt me, right? Like I get stuck there every single time because I didn't know the skills to go on. I didn't understand how it worked. I didn't understand that I needed to take action and tweak, and then I needed to take action, and then I needed to tweak. If you're on a path that things are working, don't go look for the guru to change things up. Don't jump onto the bandwagon of I need something new and shiny and fancy. But if you're not getting the results that you want, you need to step back for a second and you need to reevaluate where things are getting stuck and work on fixing where things are getting stuck. And then you go put into action. And hopefully, if you've done it right, you'll get past that point and you'll maybe get stuck again. And now it's time to reevaluate again and figure out why you're getting stuck there. Make a couple more tweaks, get everything to work a little bit smoother. You know, it's like putting oil on the bike, right? And all of a sudden you go back in and you get a little bit further. And you do that journey until you get to the end. So you're going to take action, you're going to evaluate, and take action, you're going to evaluate. It's like that rinse and repeat cycle. It's a cycle. This is a game of skill set meets mindset. You've got to have the mind to be able to trust yourself enough to make the decisions to take the next step of action, and then you just keep moving forward. Thanks for watching today. Go ahead and share this with your friends, and please like and subscribe. That's a wrap. Are you tired of bugging your family and friends and bumping into the same people all over social media trying to pitch your opportunity? If so, grab your team members and go to www.marketingexplosion.org and pick up your free copy of MLM Momentum. It's going to teach you how to get people coming to you and applying for your opportunity. It's also going to teach you how to get paid for prospecting. See you soon.